Hey Deckers, someone at Larian really loves playing on the Steam Deck, as we've got another Steam Deck specific update. Has it made a huge difference? Not really, but it is enough to warrant an update, and it definitely looks a lot better than the previous version, and so much better than the Proton version that this actually launched with. As you can see from the patch notes, and as a reminder, the stable version did update, bringing the overlay back to the native Steam version, and with the Hotfix 35 updates we have that default preset being updated, as well as an improvement on load times. So let's dive in and have a look. With those default settings, we do now have FSR 2.2 on quality and high model quality, as well as the medium textures and animation level, as well as detail distance. So it really has ramped up those settings. And considering we are running at much higher defaults now, getting 30 to 40 frames per second around Baldur's Gate, even in the circus area, is a massive improvement. But once we hit the high street of Rivington, we do get those dips back under 30, but it's not as jagged as it used to be, and the graphics don't go into a blurry mess. I do recommend that you tweak this down a little bit though, especially if you are going to be spending more time in Baldur's Gate and around Rivington, by tweaking down the upscaling mode to balanced for FSR 2.2, and if you like a little bit more smoothness, bring down that sharpening as well, and drop the ambient occlusion as a minimum. If you really want to get a little bit more out of it, you can drop that model quality and some of the texture detail down as well, but it doesn't give you that much improvement for the drop in quality. As you can see, once it does render in those load spikes, we can push around 35 to 40 frames per second, even in Rivington. But when we get those big load spikes, as you'll see here as I run down into one of the main areas, it can dip as low as 20 temporarily while it loads all that stuff in. But again, at least the graphics don't go into a hazy mess while it does it. If we leave Baldur's Gate though, or go into some of these side areas, things really do improve, and we can get upwards of 40 frames per second and sometimes 60 depending on the area you are in, but it does look 10 times better than it did with the non-native version. Its load spikes are much less now as well, and the micro stutter is all but gone, so it's a much more enjoyable experience on the Steam Deck. Of course, if you do want to go at the utmost highest quality, then it is still available on GeForce Now if you have that decent internet connection and a bit of extra money to spare. Overall though, it's definitely a great improvement, and I love to see that the developers are still putting the time in to optimize on the Steam Deck, and I can't wait to try this on the Steam machine, as it should be a very beautiful experience. Let us know in the comments below if you're still playing Baldur's Gate 3 and how far you've got in the comments below. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.